Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by Dave Fortino, the head football coach at Forest Hill Central. Dave, how are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. So, how has practices gone, and how was the summer for you guys?
Summer was really good. Our numbers in the program are up almost 15 total kids. We have a pretty good big freshman class coming in this year for the first time since probably COVID. We'll be over 30 in our freshman group, and we have over 50 kids on our roster on varsity for the first time since probably 2018. So summer was really, really good. So far practice, like we had a great day Monday. Last night we had to deal with some things with the weather because we go in the evenings. So we had to kind of shift some things around a little bit. So we actually brought them in this morning for a light workout for about 90 minutes this morning, and went really, really well. So, this is the time for optimism, and guys are excited. There's a lot of energy, and we're off to a good start.
Yeah. So, what's the outlook for Forest Hill Central this coming season?
Well, our goals don't ever change. We're always competing for the league championship. We're always trying to compete to get in the playoffs and make a strong push through the playoffs. We are going to be a little younger in certain positions this year than we've been in the past, but we have our senior quarterback coming back, and we have a couple key guys on defense that have played a lot of football. So they've been doing a good job of helping those young guys, and we're going to have to grow up quickly because we got a tough start.
Yeah. Well, we'll get to the schedule in a minute, but I know you mentioned some of the kids. Let's go more in depth with that. Some of the returners and some of the names to watch out for the Rangers this season.
Yeah, well, so we got Nick Williams back, and he started every game at quarterback last year except for game one. He actually began the year as I guess you technically call him our second string quarterback, even though we knew we were going to have some packages for him. And he took the starting job week two and never looked back, and broke school record for most passing yards in a year, and just did such a great job. And his leadership style is not a vocal style, but he shows up every day. He works really hard. He's very steady. He has a perfect temperament for a quarterback because he never gets excited about good things. He doesn't get down about bad things. He's just very even keel. Then we have Matt Sexton coming back, and he's a two-way starter for us. This will be his third year on the varsity. He's going to play outside linebacker, and on offense, he'll play tight end, fullback. We'll split him out. He's a really versatile athlete, and we can put him in space, and he can catch the ball. And then Adam Petrowski was our starting free safety last year, and he is back, and he led our team in interceptions last year. And so those three guys are going to be the cornerstone of returning players. But we have some guys that, even though they didn't start last year, played a lot of football for us. Guys like Oliver Pilon, Russ Dreyer, Isaac Steffen. So we're fortunate to have those guys, and then we got some juniors that are just gonna have to grow up quickly.
Absolutely. All right. So now we've talked about some of the kids. Now let's take a look at the upcoming schedule for you guys. It all starts on August 28th at Reeds Puffer, and then September 5th home against Portage Central, September 12th home against Forest Hills Northern, September 19th home against Wyoming, September 26th home against Unity Christian, October 3rd at South Christian, October 10th home against Zeeland West, October 17th at Zeeland East, and finishing out the regular season October 24th at East Grand Rapids. So
Yep.
pretty good schedules always. I know there was a lot of adjustments with the OK conference, and of course works out with your first season being last year as head coach. So now with all the changes happening with the division, now that we're a year in, how do you feel now about some of the opponents that you guys are facing this year?
Well, you just read it off in order. You tell me where the gimme is, right? Because there is none. I mean, it is a gauntlet for 9 straight weeks. Reese Puffer is going to be much improved from a year ago and going on the road. And they have, it's funny because when I was playing in the way back when early 90s, if you played a team on turf, it was very strange and weird and you had to adjust to that. And now, Reese Puffer has real grass. And so our kids are like, it's like, yes, it's just grass, but it's going to be a tough adjustment. And then, Portage Central, they're just going to line up and double tight and smash you in the mouth. And that is always a bloodbath of a game. And I mean that in a very positive way. Really respect the way those guys play. Our programs kind of reflect each other a little bit. And then, week 3, it's Northern, who's our rival. And it was nice that we were able to keep that on our schedule, even though they're no longer technically in our conference or our league schedule. So, those first 3 games before we start the league, that's a tough 1, 2, 3. And then when you get into our league, Wyoming, who finished last in our league, is probably going to be the most improved team. I mean, they have some really big kids, energetic kids. Coaches do a great job over there with buy-in and making those kids play hard. And, and then you look at, South Christian and Zeeland West and Unity Christian. I mean, they're all ranked in the top 5 in their divisions, and they're the toughest teams that we had played last year. And Zeeland East was almost all sophomores and juniors, so they got their whole team back. So every single team on our schedule is going to be improved from a year ago, and so there are no gimmies, and it's going to be a tough sled every single week. But that's what you sign up for. That's what you play at our school for. You embrace it, and it's part of the fun.
Yeah, for sure. It's always fun up in West Michigan playing high school football.
It is.
So the next few weeks for this program, what are you guys up to? And then of course you got the scrimmage next week, and then of course today is the first full days in uppers, and then we'll get the full pads on Friday. So what were you looking at the next 2 weeks? And hopefully we don't have to battle the weather for the next few days.
Yeah, it's funny. We were joking about that yesterday because last year, as my first year as a head coach, was the first year in 26, 27 years of coaching that we never had a lightning delay or a rain. Like, we never had weather last year. It was insane. But kids are really excited about putting shoulder pads on today. So we'll do a little thudding, but nothing major because we're still in shells, but it'll get a tiny bit more physical. But, at this point in the year, we're installing everything and we're working on technique like crazy and fundamentals. But by Friday, we want our entire offense and defense installed and everything in there. And then, we can start tweaking and tightening screws. Friday, we will do a few things to be physical and see how certain kids react, because, there are certain kids that, you have a great summer, but then you still got to see what they do and when the pads are on and we go live. But again, Friday, we won't do any live collision or anything like that. But we will have we call it our green and white day Saturday, where we'll have an open scrimmage for the family. The band comes out, the cheerleaders and the dance team comes out, the concession stand will be open. We'll get all our youth kids there. We pass out our youth kids their jerseys that day, try to get them on the field and involved a little bit, and then we'll go about maybe a half hour alive, just to see how certain guys react. And then, Monday, Tuesday next week, we will kind of still have our camp schedule. We'll still go for a little bit longer than normal. But we're already really next week, they start school on Wednesday already. So, Wednesday next week was first day of school. We'll have a little bit lighter practice because then next Thursday we have our scrimmage, and we're going to scrimmage Caledonia again. They obviously have the new head coach, but Whitney has been there for a while as their defensive coordinator, and we know him well. We have a great relationship with him, and it's always a great scrimmage for us because they're always one of the best teams in Division I, and they line up and they punch you in the mouth. And it is really good for some of our kids to deal with that physicality, because it's the first time that we go against somebody different. And, our scrimmages are never pretty. We don't design our scrimmages to try to win. We treat it like a practice, and we're going to script it to get our guys in difficult situations to see how they handle it. when I was in high school, I remember our head coach said, you're never going to win a scrimmage. There's no reason trying. You want to practice and get better and see what you got to fix. So that's kind of how we're going to approach that scrimmage. And then, we'll have a Friday will be a lifting and a stretch day before they go for the weekend. And then we get ready for Reese Puffer after that already. So, 15 days in our first game, it goes fast. And we were talking about that this morning that, didn't seem like too long ago. We were saying he got 84 days before Reese Puffer, and now it's 15 days. So
Yeah.
it's getting closer, and it's amazing how fast preseason camp goes nowadays with how, compared to the way it was, 15, 20 years ago. So it comes quick.
Yeah, it comes at you fast, and by this time, you never know. The season will already be over. So
Yeah,
that's how
it's
fast it goes.
but that, and that's part of the fun. I always told myself that if it starts to feel like it's dragging and it's painful, then it's probably a time to get out of coaching. And I I mean, obviously last year it was probably the fastest year of my life, which kind of makes sense. But still loving it, still having fun, and still love being around the coaches and the kids, and it's a great place to be.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Dave, thanks so much for spending some time with us, and best of luck to you guys this year.
All right, Casey, thank you. Appreciate what you do. Appreciate you always checking in and helping us get a little exposure. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.